For all of you alumni and friends of the public diplomacy section, I wanted to welcome you to this special afternoon, evening program with Noam Shuster. Before we start, I wanted to mention something that has been on all of our minds as Americans this past week. This has been, as I was telling Noam earlier today, it's a very hard time to think very many things are funny. It's between COVID, between what happened with the George Floyd murder in Minneapolis, the riots that have happened since then. It really is sort of a dark period, and those of us who love our country, America, and love talking about the connections between the U.S. and the rest of the world. It's hard, and I just wanted to say that for Noam, nothing is off limits because we are trying to find humor in the darkest places and a little bit of light in the darkest places. I think that a week into this situation in the U.S., I'm starting to feel optimistic. I'm feeling like we're going toward a better time. And my entire career in the State Department for 30 years, we've had to explain things like what happened in Minneapolis this week and what's happened around the U.S. And it's all about the long arc of history. The U.S. is built upon great ideas, but built upon original sin. And there is a lot of work to be done in the U.S., and there are a lot of great people in the U.S. who are working on it. It's fascinating to see, Israelis who identify with the U.S. so closely and worry about us. So we feel the solidarity, we feel the love, and I hope that we'll get to a brighter day pretty soon. But we're not here to talk about that. We're really here to talk about some stories that Noam has to share with us. Noam, for those of you, I assume most of you have some idea who she is, and we advertised who she is. She's been a long time, friend of the embassy and friend of the peacemaking world in Israel. Came out of Brandeis University, which I used to think of as the Jewish Harvard, but then she went to Harvard. So now Harvard is the Jewish Harvard. She was with Interpeace for a while, working on the same kind of peace building and conflict management issues that we hold very dear to our hearts at the U.S. Embassy. And then she had this crazy idea that she wanted to become a stand-up comedian. And we admire her stories, admire her ability to find goodness and humor in tough places. And when the COVID crisis set in, really watching Noam become famous for becoming sick was kind of amazing to watch because suddenly she's on all the programs in the U.S. and telling her story. So we thought it would be fun to have her share a little bit of her adventures from the past few weeks, past few months, and share a little bit of her story. And then what I'd encourage is if people have questions, if they have setups, prompts, if they want to see if she can actually make something funny out of the worst situations, feel free toward the end, when Noam finishes talking a little bit, we'll open it up for questions. And please just either send a note on the chat function or raise your hand, and sorry, we'll unmute your mic and get you in front of Noam. So with that, I'll turn it over to Noam, and thank you so much for joining us, Noam. I look forward to having a little bit of levity in my life today.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Just those with cameras on, just wave so that I can see that we're alive, communicating as humans. Thank you for your intro. I just want to say maybe this is the first time in history that Middle Eastern people can tell you that we will give you refuge if things go really crazy in the US. We can you know, you can offer you our passport. I don't know what you guys do in the US when but it's really, really crazy times. And yeah, I think all of our hearts are, you know, there's a lot. It is a weird time also for me as a comedian to try and address these things on Zoom. I feel like I'm in outer space. That's why I chose this this background, but I'm happy to be with you. I wish I could do some audience work. I wish people can unmute themselves and we can talk. It's so weird communicating like this, you know. It's also funny because I'm doing all these comedy shows on Zoom now, and there's a huge difference in the US. The comedy clubs, you know, they have DJs and a VJ and they have all these technologies and stuff. And here, when we do Zoom shows that are local, most of the shows look like, hello, can you hear me? There's a huge difference. Sometimes I wake up at 4 a.m. to perform in, you know, Zoom virtual comedy clubs in the US. It's very, very weird. I've had very, very intense few months. I don't know if you guys have been following, but I am basically, I'm full of antibodies because I got sick with the virus, the COVID-19. I call it in Hebrew, Oved 19. And so for those of you who don't know me, and maybe this is the, for those of you who don't know, I'm Noam, and Samah is actually my neighbor. I grew up in Wahat al-Salam, Neve Shalom, which is a beautiful coexistence village between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. And as I always say, the coexistence there is mainly between Ashkenazi Jews and Ashkenazi Arabs.
It's now shared society, according to the U.S. Embassy.
Right.
Like,
Samah,
you have to
going
update
to be,
the terminology, you know.
Yeah, you're going to be the monitor of the terminology. Samah and I are actually working on some comedy skits together. And so at the age of 7, my parents have been kind of peace activists. I'm Jewish, I'm half. My mother was born in Iran. She's an Iranian Jew. That's why I look a little bit like Ahmadinejad. I know what you were thinking. I resemble him a little bit. My best friend was a Palestinian. Her name is Ranin. She's really beautiful. She looks like Gigi Hadid. So I look like Ahmadinejad next to her. When we crossed checkpoints, the soldiers stopped my car, they hit on her, they asked for her number, and me, they asked for my ID. So this is my life, a brown-looking Middle Eastern Jewish woman who grew up with Palestinians. So for the Palestinians in the audience, مرحبا, إذا بتسمعوني وأنا عم بحكي عربي تخافوش. ما تعلمتش عربي عشان الموساد. I'm not recording you. I'm not from the Mossad. I learned Arabic to communicate with you, okay? I see Rami Hanna is looking at me a bit suspicious. I see him like, okay, I'm not sure, maybe the U.S. Embassy, maybe there is some kind of a trap here. What are they doing to me? So
yeah, I see the recording sign. I see the recording sign. It's not...
Right. It's only for the use of the FBI and the CIA. You're wanted. That's it. And so from the age of 7, my parents arrived to this village. I was 7. It was 1984. It was a very different time. There was, you know, the Oslo agreements, and it was a very, very different times. And my parents chose to move there because they are leftists, and what they do in their full-time job is embarrass their kids. I didn't know, I don't know if you knew that, but this is what leftist parents do. Their full-time job is to embarrass their kids. And my parents now, the way they're embarrassing me is they're taking, on Wednesdays, they're taking a course about the Nakba. And a few weeks ago, I was with my friend, the Palestinian friend I told you about. She was next to me in the car, and it was a Wednesday, and I forgot that my parents have the course. So I called my mom, and my mom said, "Noam, it's Wednesday. You know, your dad, we can't speak to you. We're on the way to the Nakba." And my friend didn't speak to me for like 2 weeks. So this is my life always. There are all these sensitivities and things. And I don't know, Samah told me this very, very funny. Samah, you're still here? Or
I'm
did
here,
we
I'm
lose?
here.
You are here. Should we tell the story about the fire that broke in Wahd al-Salam?
You can tell any story you want. You know, they are the US, they know everything.
So about 3 years ago, in the surrounding of Neve Shalom, Wahd al-Salam, there was, just to give you an example of how my life always is, between the two people, always. And then I'll explain to you how I got to Harvard and the show that I was working on and why I'm here and I'm in outer space. So 3 years ago, a fire broke in the village. We have a forest around our houses. Have you been to Neve Shalom? Raise your hand or do some clapping. Rad, I see you've been there. Okay, Rami disappeared. He's afraid that they were recording him. Sorry, I know that you've been there because you have relatives there, right? Yes. Oh, the leftists, we know each other. Okay, that's good. Good company. See, that's how we reach the masses. We all know each other. And when the fire broke, it threatened the houses of the Jews and the house of the Arabs equally. And the firefighters, they were coming to let us know that we need to evacuate from their houses. And we, the Jews, when we hear that we need to evacuate our houses, we're like, we've been through worse things. We've seen some fires in our history. If you know our history, we took the passport and we put it in our bag and we took the gold and, we swallow the gold. Paulina, I see you laughing. It's a Holocaust joke. I made a Nakba joke. Now I need to make a Holocaust joke. That's how it goes. That's how it is. And so the Jews, we ran away from our houses, no problem. We've been there, done that. It's okay. We're used to these traumas. But the Palestinians, ولا حدا تحرك. No one left their houses. They all stayed in their houses and they didn't leave. And then the firefighters, they saw that there are still people in their houses. So they took someone and they were yelling with the megaphone, Youssef, Muhammad, you have to evacuate from your houses immediately. The fire is coming close. And Youssef, my neighbor, took his nose out the window and he said, you already told me that in 1948, I'm not leaving my house. And then the firefighter told him, Youssef, you will be able to come back. So Youssef told him, you also told me that in 1948 and I never came back. Anyways, all the things that happened to us. And then after an hour, when really the fire was really, really close to the houses, and Samah told me the ending of this story, and it's really funny, and now I'm using it in my shows. I see Youssef coming, to the safe zone where we were all there, and he's with his flip-flops and his pajamas, and we're like, Youssef, you didn't bring anything to save from your house? And he's like, why not? I brought my phone charger. So you Palestinians, you didn't learn anything from 48. Okay, let's move on. And so all my life I've been an activist in different causes and around the conflict, being a Jewish woman that speaks Arabic, not for intelligence purposes, Rami, I told you. And for many, many years, I was really, really afraid that the situation at home will become better and I will lose my job. And you know how it is. I mean, if the peace industry, if things become better, who's going to fly you guys from the U.S. Embassy on some scholarships to go visit the United States? If things are okay between Israelis and Palestinians, who's going to pay for, who's going to have public diplomacy programs for us to, we really have to be very, very, yeah, Terry, let's raise a glass for that. Make sure the conflict continues so that we will continue to have all these programs. I love how Daphna, she just got up from her chair and she's like, I'm going to bring a toast for that. No peace, never. Shapira, yeah, and Bira Shapira, she went, oh, Poel Kataman. Okay, you are at the Oedeta של Poel Kataman, and Paulina is drinking tea. She's doing yoga. We have wine and we have beer and you're drinking some green tea, Paulina. Come on, come on. We wanted some. And what is Mariam? Marian, what are you drinking? Is this just water?
Just water.
Okay, listen. I don't know, Terry, what's happening here with the alumni of the US, I don't know. Someone is drinking tea, someone is drinking some hipster beer from Jerusalem. Is there someone that has a toast they want to, Rami, who's drinking what? Oh, you also have this water from, what's happening with you guys? You guys are so healthy. What did they do to you in the U.S. Embassy? I don't understand. I just survived COVID-19. I can drink poison now. I have antibodies. I can survive anything. You know. So what happened is that after many years of being on stage and being an activist, I got fired from my UN job, because I don't know if you've read the news, but the UN don't know what to do with us. I don't know if you've heard it before. And when I got fired from my serious job, I'm kind of telling you the story very quickly so that we don't run out of time. I started telling jokes and I started performing, and I got myself into a lot of trouble for my jokes. Who here heard the story about the Saudi prince that I got in trouble with MBS, Mohammed bin Salman? Okay, Muhammad Yassin knows the story. Rami, okay, Rami and Muhammad Yassin, do you recognize me as Naameh who proposed to Mohammed bin Salman, or do you know it because you heard my stand-up?
I heard about that you proposed to him in a report.
So tell us what you know, and I will correct you.
I heard that you proposed to him on TV because he's a powerful leader, and then all the Arab world was like running after you. To understand why a Zionist party leader wanted to marry him.
Okay, good. You're following. Rami, what did you hear?
Yeah, basically the same thing. A Jewish girl proposes to bin Salman, which shows the tatbi'a and so on.
Okay, so as soon as I started doing comedy in 3 languages and stuff, first of all, I was invited to perform in a Palestinian comedy festival. And I got on stage in East Jerusalem and the audience was shocked. And of course I said, yes, this is why I'm doing comedy. And the audience was shocked. There is a Jewish comedian coming on stage. So I told everyone, don't worry, I'm only here for 7 minutes, not 72 years. And then everyone they were relieved. And then I started doing more comedy in Arabic and everything. And one of the jokes that I made was during the elections. Now, not the elections we had, not the elections before, 276 elections ago, a year ago. And I made up that I'm starting a party called Naameh because that's my name in Arabic. And I would like to work on cooperation and coexistence in the Middle East. And I needed a strong, powerful leader to promote my party. And also, I am single, so I want a strong leader to promote me, Wing. So I looked at the camera and I addressed a strong leader in the Middle East. And I said, Bashar al-Assad is tall and strong, but I don't want him. He's not good. There's another leader in the Middle East who's speaking to Israelis and he doesn't care being friendly with Israelis. So I looked straight at the camera and I was like, MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, marhaba. And I introduced myself. My name is Noam, in Arabic, Naameh. I started a party called Naameh. Why don't you help me promote my party and also promote me? Wink. See, you didn't laugh because it's not a very good joke, right? Rada, I see you laughing. But the day after I woke up, and the entire Middle East and Arabic-speaking media, they had viral items, and they said, Zionist party leader proposes marriage to Mohammed bin Salman. Oh no, what have I done? My face was all over, everywhere. You see, like Rami and Muhammad, they saw me in Al Jazeera, in BBC. I was like, my face was everywhere. And then the day after, because I told you my mom is Iranian Jewish, right? My mother has a big, huge Persian Jewish family. She has 9 brothers and sisters. We call them the Muslim Brotherhood. Huge Persian Jewish family. And so in Iran, it became also viral, this story. But what did the Iranians say about this incident? They said, Iranian Jewish comedian made a joke. Arabs didn't understand it. And so I was like, I had a conflict. I was like, which conflict am I on between Arabs and Iranians, between Jews and Arabs? I was completely lost. So long story short, if you're an activist and you're tired, just start doing comedy and you can reach many, 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 many more people. Okay, Paulina?
You can propose to people to marry you. Everywhere you will be popular.
I think now Americans would want to marry me because it's much safer here than in the US right now. So we don't need their passports anymore.
The question is, did you hear from Ben Salman?
I heard from I heard from everyone in the world, but from Hamad bin Salman. He never contacted me. And to be honest, I think I would have made a good fifth wife. I don't know why he didn't contact me back. But, you know, my grandma, my Persian grandma, God bless her soul, I actually lost her like 2.5 weeks ago, and she's a big inspiration to me, and I'm happy to, you know, continue. I didn't mean to bring you down, guys. But my grandmother, she always kind of pressured me to, you know, Persian Jewish grandma. After I turned 30, she's like, Noam, now you are 30 years old, you can marry a non-Jew. And my father, he's Ashkenazi Jewish. He's blonde, he has green eyes, he's Romanian Jewish. He looks like a Swedish sperm donor next to me. There is like no connection between us. And you know, for the Mizrahi, the Persian Jews, the Ashkenazi Jews, they don't know if they're really Jewish or whatever. So my grandma tells me, look, your mother, she married a non-Jew, everything turned out okay. So I told my grandma, my dad is not a non-Jew, he's just Ashkenazi. So my grandma said, real Jews are Jews who come from Iran, from Iraq, from Morocco. Your father looks like Jesus. But Jesus was Jewish too, Grandma. No, I'm so confused. Anyways, Jews are very confused people. And so my grandma, when she heard this news from Iran and she saw that her granddaughter is everywhere, you know, her face is all over the news. So she called me and she's like, Noam, when I told you you can marry a non-Jew after you are 30, I didn't mean the Saudi prince. Next time you can go on TV and propose marriage, please choose an Iranian, not a Saudi man. That's what she told me. Anyways, so after causing all this mess, a viral mess in the Middle East, I get an email from Harvard University, which I personally thought it was a joke. Because when I was an activist and a serious activist, I tried to get into the Kennedy School and I did not get in. So now I'm pursuing my dream and I'm doing comedy, and now I get an email from Harvard University. And the email said, Dear Noam, there is a fellowship for artists in the Middle East who are rewriting, you know, the Middle East, and we would like you to propose a creative project to work on and come to Harvard. And I thought it was a joke. So I wrote a proposal. I sat like this, just like I'm doing right now. And I wrote a proposal that I'm going to work on a one-woman comedy show. And I called it, are you ready? Just nod your head. I called the show Coexistence My Ass. Because khalas is hit. I don't believe in coexistence. We're all tired of this game. We don't want, you know, like, and I hit send, hoping that this is some kind of a joke and I can use it in my show. 10 days later, I get an email back from Harvard University. Dear Noam, the Harvard Divinity School is happy to approve coexistence my ass. Oh my God, I looked at God and I was like, God, okay, I got the message. I got the message. So I flew to Harvard and it was amazing. I got to do amazing things. I got to perform in the US with comedians like Maz Jobrani, who's my favorite Iranian-American comedian. I opened for him in DC in front of 3,000 people at the Kennedy Center. And then the Kennedy Center booked my show. I flew to Dharamsala and I met the Dalai Lama. I sat with the Dalai Lama. The craziest things happened to me. the Dalai Lama told me about the oppression that he and his people, you know, the Tibetan people have suffered from the Chinese. And that was in December 2019. If I would have known that, fast forward 3 months later, I would have been able to say the exact same thing to the Dalai Lama, how the Chinese screwed us too. I would have said very different things to him. And so I'm at Harvard and I'm having the time of my life, and I'm opening for big comedians, and I'm able to translate my jokes into English, and I'm really, you know, I'm not even digesting what's happening. And then boom, my emails and all of your emails become a cancellation festival, right? How did your emails look on the first 2 weeks of March, Terry? A cancellation festival. Your flight is canceled, your show is canceled, your life is canceled, there is no tomorrow, khalas. And I'm like, oh, S-H-I-T. What do we do now? I'm at Harvard. The president of Harvard got the virus, him and his wife. They told us that we have 5 days to decide if I'm leaving the campus, if I'm staying. And I decided to pack my things and to just get the hell out of the US. And I think, it's the first time in history that someone from the Middle East is escaping from America on the other direction. And I was on the run. There was a hysteria in the US, and I just packed my things, really. It took me like 2 days. I packed everything. And I knew that there is a high probability that on the way from the US to home that I'm probably going to catch the virus. Because I don't know if you can tell, God is speaking to me in a very direct way, and all the problems are always in my life. And ladies and gentlemen, dear alumni of the public diplomacy, I arrived home straight into quarantine, and 4 days later, my fever was up, and the nurses were calling me, asking me for if I have symptoms, and I had I felt like I'm the girl of COVID-19. I had every symptom that you can imagine, every symptom. And I got the results, and when the result was positive, they called me from the Ministry of Health. They told me, Noam, you are patient number 3,555. So I was like, oh, thanks. That's a great number, actually. It's a lucky number. 3,000, 3 times 555. Great number. I felt very, very lucky to be sick with this number. And after a few days, my symptoms became a bit more complicated. And also, I felt like I'm becoming the modi'in, איך אומרים מודיעין? Like
Information center, you mean?
Yeah, information center for corona patients. People were calling me, people who know me and who don't know me, they're calling me because they have all these like weird symptoms, so they want to know if it's similar to me and if they have the virus. So this woman that I hardly know, she calls me and she's like, no, I feel such pain in my throat and I feel like I can't breathe and I feel like the weight of the world is in my throat. Is that how you feel? And I'm like, no, honey, I think your husband is cheating on you or something. I don't know. I don't think it's a symptom of the corona. Like, leave me alone. I'm not an information center. And so I actually, after a few days at home, I fainted and I had difficulties breathing and I was hospitalized. And then from the hospital, oh my God, I have so many stories. Really, so many stories. I felt like I'm really in the battlefield, the battle zone of the, the corona when I was in the hospital. And then when I was released from the hospital, I was like, great, can I go home now? And the doctor was like, nope, you cannot go home. You are going to Dan Hotel in Jerusalem. I was like, oh no. And I arrived to the hotel and it was so weird because you're by yourself. No one can walk through, the ambulance drops you somewhere really, really far and you have to kind of walk in by yourself, to the hotel. I felt like an alien from outer space, just like my background. Walking, I was like, hello, is there anyone there? And they split, you know, the reception had this like, like a plastic separation barrier. We're good in these words. I should know separation.
The
A
plexiglass.
separation. Yeah. And then the manager of the reception is like, Noam Shuster, you're here. And I was like, oh no, they know my name here because the army is in charge of this whole hotel thing. And I was like, oh no, they're watching me. They know everything that I do. And I walked into the hotel and they gave me all the papers. And imagine, I have been alone for so long in quarantine and sick, and everyone is far away from me and not coming close to me. When you have corona, did anyone on this call have corona? No. But what I wanted to tell you is that when I got to the hotel, I had an identity crisis. First of all, I got to the hotel, there are 200 patients in this Dan hotel in Jerusalem. And it was everyone. There were Palestinians from East Jerusalem. There were Bedouins from the south. There were Palestinians from the north. There were Haredi, ultra-Orthodox Jews from Bet Shemesh, and ultra-Orthodox Jews from everywhere. There were Mizrahi, there were Ashkenazi. There were all walks, and everyone in the lobby getting along with each other. And I was like, hold on. No. I'm trying to make a career out of the fact we don't get along here. You guys are not all going to have an external threat, the virus, corona, COVID-19, and then you're all going to start getting along in this hotel. Excuse me. Excuse you. And then there was a Zumba class at 6 p.m. Like that was the first activity in the hotel. And I was like, what is going on? Where am I? I was just sick by myself in a hospital. And now I am in a hotel where everyone is getting along, doing Zumba classes. There were really good looking people there, actually, really cute people. And I don't know how to describe this time. I was there for 2 weeks and I'm still digesting what happened there, but I was sharing a lot. And I felt a huge identity crisis because everybody was getting along. So what I did one afternoon is actually made up a huge fight in the lobby so that we can all be reminded of how life is outside, okay? Because it was way, way too weird. So I had a partner for this and we made up a huge fight. He was pretending to be this rude guy who's asking me to like clean up the tables. And I was like, stop asking me just because I'm a woman, da, 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 da. And then I started yelling at him and he was yelling at me. It felt so good, felt just like home, you know, just like good old times before I got to this hotel. And I mean, this experience was amazing. I'm happy to take questions. I don't know if you wanna ask me about my time there, just because I've been talking for so long and I wanna open it up also to you. I don't know if you have any comments, any ideas, any suggestions on what to do with my life now, any questions, anything. Please feel free to ask me.
Noam, we were all very jealous of you because you were like having Zumba classes and hanging out with music and dancing together, and and the rest of us were like, hey, we can't go anywhere. So I don't know if you have plans to try to package this in some way for coexistence, kind of coexistence, sick camps or something.
I mean, I'm sorry, this is going to be a little bit maybe, but it's just amazing how quickly I think, the army or whoever was managing this whole thing with the hotels, just like the threat of, losing people, let's get them all, let's get them all in a hotel. And the whole world was like, look at what's going on here. Like, how did they manage, to do this, these hotels so quickly? And people, it's also so weird, to explain to people that the hotels we were in charge by the army, and Palestinians who were in this hotel were okay, like we're treated like we all got the same food. We all, like, for 2 weeks I saw what it's like when Jews and Palestinians get the same food, get the same, you know, treatment, get, like, that's how the Jewish establishment is so afraid for our demographics. Like, they would treat Palestinians equal just so that we don't get each other sick outside. Like, that's how crazy it is. So for me, it was just, as someone who grew up, you know, in such a different way, where I'm used to seeing all the inequalities outside, seeing just a very extreme version of how life could look like in this extreme case was just, it was just mind-blowing for me. Yeah. I see Makbula really wants to say something. Right?
When I finished eating, I had to, sorry, but I really enjoyed your writing during the Corona. You just reminded me of my sister's illusion. I had a sister, she even make a profit of Corona. She didn't buy anything. She didn't change anything in her life. She didn't care. Even when I bought masks, she took them away. And I told her, aren't you worried? She said, no, we will be going to a hotel. I told her, what the fuck? and there was another thing, that at the same day I saw a headline by Arhi Dirai that he's saying that he's taking control in the quarantines of Arabs and Haredi, and they are building camps. So I was terrified. I started imagining that they will send Arabs to some kind of camps with these kind of אלונקות שנפתחות.
Yeah.
בחוץ, והJews will be going to hotels. So I was, anyway, also my relation with the police and the army have been so weird.
Yeah. So suddenly, so imagine people who have these sensitivities, suddenly they're inside a hotel where these forces are taking care of them, right? Like, we needed getting, like, the same food or the same laundry or the same, whatever. It was like a mind switch. It was very, very weird. And also the young people, they were having such a good time in the hotel that when I did a stand-up show, I did like a comedy show in the lobby, and I was like, so are you guys excited that maybe soon you will have negative tests and you will be out? And they're like, no, we don't want to leave. We want to stay. They're not answering the phone calls of the nurses because they don't want to leave. So I was like, wait, you guys, who is here because they're really sick, and who was licking benches outside to get the COVID and to be in a free hotel? People didn't want to leave. It was really, really crazy. Yeah. Yeah, wow, time flies by with you guys. It's so much fun. I can't believe it's almost 7 and I almost have to go, but I want to, does anyone have something to say? It can be anything. It can be a hi Noam, it can be like ask me about, anything. Like my grandmother said, ask me anything you want. Ask, don't be shy.
I have a question. Hi. First of all, hi Noam. It's great to see you again. I'm very sorry I joined late. I had
no worries.
We loved you at Sofen, and everybody says hi. We missed you since when you performed our recent Mentees event last year.
Right, with what's his name? The very very energetic person.
Nas Daily, of course.
Nas Daily, Welly. I love him.
I actually have a question. Do you think it's because it's Jerusalem? Because something's been happening in Jerusalem last years. There's a certain kind of a Jerusalem ecosystem that is different, It's occupied and occupiers, and sometimes, it's Jews and Palestinians, and yet it's different, Because all sorts of things are happening in Jerusalem.
Yeah. You mean maybe that's why the hotel was a success story, you mean?
Yeah, this is why it was such a microcosmos.
No. Okay, I see Abed is saying I second that, but I'm sorry, I'm going to smash you this dream. I'm one of those. I hate Tel Aviv. Like, you know, it's a bubble.
It's just a question. It's not a hypothesis.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the hills of Jerusalem or something just made it more romantic for people. I don't know, but the people who were in the hotel, they were from all over. They weren't Jerusalemites. They were Palestinians from, you know, East Jerusalem, but it was all over. There were people from the north, from the south, from all over. And so I wouldn't, you know, now I'm talking about it here with you, you know, on my Zoom shows and my conversations. If it wasn't a very weird case of, I don't know what happened to me in those 2 weeks in the hotel and how the hell all these people got along, and this glimpse of extreme human, like compassion that I saw for the first time in my life. I grew up in the village that is supposed to be, you know, the example from coexistence. And what I saw in this hotel was organic, it was authentic, it wasn't funded by the public diplomacy of the US. It wasn't organized in any way. Like Haredi Jews who are from Arab origin, Mizrahi Jews, who, this is my dream that we reconnect to our Middle Eastern heritage and connect it to Palestinians. They were having conversations with Palestinians about like how the Ashkenazi people came here in 48 and ruined the relationship that we had between Jews and, you know, it was just like crazy conversations, radical conversations, and I wasn't the one to facilitate it. It just happened by itself. And this is what was really organic and really, really crazy. And really, if this wasn't just a really great example that I don't know how it happened, I still don't know what to do with it. It just, and while it was in Jerusalem, it wasn't because the people of Jerusalem only were a part of it. Sorry, this was a very passionate answer. Yeah.
Noam, I know that you do have an appointment in about 5 minutes, so you need to go do your hair and thing before then. And I just want to thank you for, you know, sharing this time with us, and thank all of you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
What I would like to do is, you know, we'll have to redo this again around the campfire in some place in the middle of Israel at some point.
Please,
we can all get out, okay? With marshmallows.
Please. Thank you
right.
for everyone who wrote also really, really nice. I see really nice comments here. Thank you, everyone. And we can stay virtually in touch, and yes, hopefully see you face to face soon, and keep on doing all your amazing. I know so many familiar faces here who are doing amazing things. So continue doing a good job, and don't work too hard so that we don't have, you know, things too good here, so that we all can continue having jobs. Yeah.
Great. And Mohammed, take care of yourself and take care of Minneapolis.
Mohammed, salam tak.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay.
Pray for me. I have my results coming out soon for my last test.
All right.
So.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Noam.
Bye, everyone.
See
you soon. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Daphne.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.